early, but that's no problem, because today I wanted to explain stances. Stances is a really huge subject in the martial arts. And stances are most often used as returning points after initiating an attack, or even so, just moving around, like in some kind of stance, using taisabaki, moving from point to point. And stances are really beneficial for every martial artist to know, because stances are the foundation of your human flesh in an upwards position. You know already some stances, maybe you want to know some stances, but we're gonna start with some basics. Without further ado, we're gonna start with this one. Alright, this one is called Kibagachi in Japanese, or just horse stance in English. To start, we're gonna stand in just a position you find comfortable, or you should be feeling comfortable in. Alright, your feet are like directly pointing beside each other to the front. So if you look at it from a horizontal view, see it like this. Stand like this, and you want to use now Kibadachi, or also called horse stance. Alright, you're gonna stand in Kibadachi, but what is most often used not correctly in the stance is actually where the feet is pointing to. So in a good Kibadachi, you stand upright, but your feet are pointing to the front. In a Shikodachi, however, we're gonna stand with the feet pointing to a diagonal plane. So like this. So right now, you know the difference between Kibadachi and Shikodachi. Kibadachi, also called horse stance, or Shikodachi, like that. So Kibadachi, like this. You need to imagine that a bow or jo, or some kind of stick, is able to rest upon your upper leg. So like this. You're gonna grab a jo, have your jo resting upon your knees, like this. That's a good Kibadachi. So, an example of a not good utilized Kibadachi is this. Up, or like this, a little bit more to the side, more to that side. The thing to stances, I often see things like this in movies, like, right? It's cool, it's awesome, it has some utility. Vulnerable to is like this. When people standing like right there, fighting position, right? And I stand like this, up. Really what you want. But I should also add that this particular situation is really special, because you stand like this and a person in front of you are standing like this or like this. It's really situational. It's depending on the situation itself, like all martial art techniques are, in my opinion. Like, nothing is always effective and nothing is never effective, like that. So there are some things which are being argued to be almost never effective, but that's beside the point. So what I was explaining was like this, right? We came from the Kibadachi to what a stance could be and what a stance could be not. So we're gonna stand like this. I should be in a more viewable space, right? Like this. I hope you can see me. Like this, right? Or like this. It doesn't matter really. Hoppa. And I'm opening up. This is a really different kind of angle. But I want to, like this one in the front, pointing to a little bit diagonal. This one is my knee, my right leg. I'm balancing most of my weight upon this leg. So, what I wanted to explain was this. It's in front of you. Imagine it, alright? It's just standing in a basic position to attack. So what he's gonna do, he ain't gonna do much. He just only has to do one thing. And that is to use a shin kick, or just put a little bit of weight on that left leg of yours. Because if you do that, and you're standing really out in the front with his leg, it's gonna break. Because what did I explain in a video prior to this one? Like with a low kick block, why do we make your legs softer or more movable? Why? Because it's not being able to break that easily. Because when you look at a tree whose wound is really strong, really stiff, it's gonna break when the storm hits. But a little twig ain't gonna break that easily, because it moves with the force it gets. You get it? Alright. So on to the next one. So we explained two things already. The first one to be the Kibagachi, Shikodachi, which are both correct. I also want to add the third thing I explained is not bad, is not incorrect. Everything you can imagine is correct as long as it has a purpose. So, as long as you keep that in mind, it is just alright. Yeah, that rhymes too, so it should be right, because it rhymes. Yeah, like that. With the fourth one, I want to explain something more. Because fighting, you should not do that outside. Sparring, you should do that inside, alright? So, we're gonna do a little bit more effective is we put our hands in the air. We make it opponents, not really fair. But we're gonna put it in the air and make it not fair for the opponent. You see what I'm doing? I'm trying to balance my weight almost 50-50 on both legs. So I ain't gonna turn a little bit back like this, because this is another stance. You're gonna put up your left feet a little bit, but also that one we're gonna explain in a future video. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stand 50-50 stance, hands in the air. What I tend to do is not put my right feet to the like a triangle, up in a V-like position. So if you use it in a V-like position, it's not really a problem though. But why would you not make the V a little bit shorter, right? So you can get some pressure in the opponent's defense. So what I tend to do are two things. I or use my weight like this, so my right foot is like a little bit horizontal and my left foot is pointing to the front position. But what I tend to do mostly is this. Putting both of my feet a little bit to the front. My right leg is a little bit more tilted to the right, but not as much as what I explained before. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fight forward. So with this kind of stance, you'll be able to fight more forward. So you'll be able to push forward and have more pressure on the opponent. You understand? That's great. But you want to know something else great? You can do all kinds of things you can with this one too. The only thing I should add is this. So, what's easy because your right leg is a little bit more tilted to the right, like you can kick a little bit more. You're already in that position, you know, so you can put more force into it. So, but if you tend to put your feet both forward, you have a little bit more difficult to land that low kick, land that high kick, land anything. But it's pretty much the same. It can be differentiating from every person. Some people have longer legs, some people have longer arms, I don't know. But that's not the case I wanted to talk about right now. I wanted to talk like, why do I tend to put my feet both in the front and not one tilted to the side? I want to form some pressure for my opponent. Like if I'm punching, I'm hooking, and then kick, like that. But to lead in a kick, we're gonna explain further in a future video as well. So, what we did today was this. The Kibagachi, Shikodachi. Kibagachi, can you remember? Like putting your feet like in front, being able to balance a Joe upon them, like that, like I showed. Or Shikodachi, and you're doing practically the same thing. You could also being able to put a Joe right here and just lay it there. We explained some lower stance and why it could be argued to be not as well effective as something else I showed, but even though it's not bad. Like you can put your hands here, you can put your hands here, the opponent is there. You can actually just do like this to have it more like balanced. You can sweep kick it, so you can go to the ground more easily. You can do a sweep kick, which I cannot do right now because I have not enough space. But you get the point. So we did that one. We did some fighting stances and explained why people use that kind of stance and why would you or why would you not want to use that stance. So I hope you learned a lot today, and watch my further videos when I post them as well. Have a good day and train like you want to train. Thank you for watching. This was Jordan Lemse. 4 stances you can use or you should be able to use in your martial arts journey. Thank you.